these teams have qualified once.
Yeah.
Why would they have to qualify again? Why would after qualification, after going through the process, why won't Ireland or Netherlands get to play India, Pakistan, England, Australia, New Zealand in first attempt? I mean, they should be able to, unless you play against the top sides, you will never improve.
Yeah.
See, the gap they claim is there. Many fans claim that there's a huge gap. There's some truth in that, but probably, I mean, it can. Unless the big teams, the full members, play the associate nation members every now and then, the gap is not going to go away. This, and what better chance than a T20 World Cup than that to happen?
Yeah.
I can't see why ICC have to do this two-tier thing even after the World Cup has started. They could easily have used 4 groups. They could easily have used 2 groups for these 16 teams. I think it's cruel if a side if a side qualifies for the T20 for the main phase and then plays 3 matches. 2 of which are probably against the same teams they have played against the qualifiers itself.
Yeah.
There's no point. You're just playing one full member side and that is it.
Yeah, sounds good. Does sound good. Sandipan, you were adding to that point.
Yeah, I mean, ICC should take a leaf out of ACC's book, Asian Cricket Council. I mean, in the Asia Cup, I am in Dubai, so I can remember that game. Hong Kong was almost on the verge of beating India, that too in a 50-over game.
Yeah.
I mean, these associate nations, these smaller teams, so-called smaller teams, should definitely be given the platform to compete against the big teams. Otherwise, I mean, look at Oman. They were almost beating Bangladesh. Look at Scotland. It is very unfortunate because this bunch of players, I think this is the best ever Scottish cricket team. Scotland's strongest ever cricket team. But unfortunately, this team could not play the 50-over World Cup when it was held in UK in 2019. And they were like almost qualifying. You remember that game? They had against West Indies in the qualifier. They had a poor decision and the rain. So Scotland, all these teams deserve to get that platform to compete against the big team. And in today's modern day cricket, anything can happen. That's why I was referring to that Hong Kong versus India game in the Asia Cup 2018.
Yeah, and would have been a much bigger upset if these teams would have gotten the chance to play against the other teams, the so-called 8 of the Super 12. But yeah, there we are as of now, and that's what the PNG captain said yesterday after the game. If we can play more games against more tier 1 teams, we can get more exposure. And that's just it. As simple as that. If we do need to make this a global sport, and if we do need to make this a World Cup, then it sounds like the only way to go forward. But then there have been some great performances with the bat and with the ball. I watched the Oman game yesterday, and some of the players that I've been fascinated by, Richard Barrington. I saw Bilal Khan yesterday. Jatinder Singh batted nicely. Zishan Maqsood has been brilliant with the ball, especially that first
George Munshi.
Yeah, and all these players. And all these players, you watch them play, and you kind of think they can play any franchisee league around the world. They can make the other players, the so-called players who have been established in those circuits, shift aside to make space in the teams, especially with a certain league having its next season 6 months later, with 2 new teams coming up, with a lot more room for a lot more talent to come in. I do think that the league itself, not the players, the league itself deserves these kind of superstars. What are your thoughts on the players that we have seen so far in round 1?
Yeah, absolutely. These players deserve to get more contract at the franchisee levels. Not only just the Indian Premier League or the BBL, the 100. We have seen the 100, and look at how Team David performed there. Who would have thought that a player from Singapore would have played the IPL, and he eventually did. So these players. It's a good platform for these players and for all the scouts around the world. I mean,
Yeah.
it's good platform to show have a closer look at these players.
Yeah.
And there are lot many leagues coming up in every different part of the world.
Yeah.
So I definitely believe that some of these players will get a contract, especially a few of them from Scotland. I can remember one name is George Munsey. Remember Scotland were 53 for 6. He came in, he smashed something 40 odd runs, and then with the ball he took, I think, two quite a couple of vital wickets, and that turned the game around for Scotland in those middle overs. So apart from that, I think Oman had quite a few interesting players. Jitendra Singh is one, of course, you have already mentioned. He looks like a player to watch out for at the associate level. But I hope that they play a lot of T20 leagues in the UAE, right? And Oman, UAE, they play a lot of T20 leagues. So I'm sure Jitendra will get some sort of a contract. And remember, most of these associate players are not full-time cricketers. They have other job to do.
Yeah.
So they are not putting their 100% into cricket. So if they have a source of income from the game by playing different franchise leagues around the world, then they can put more effort to improve their game, and that will actually benefit their national teams as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
overall the standard of associate cricket will increase with that. So I really think that but I completely agree with Abhishek here. I think these teams deserve to play. The bigger teams. There is no point. It is basically it is being done to keep the Super 12 round for more elite teams. But I think these teams have already earned their rights to be there in the World Cup.
Yeah.
So I think they will definitely do away with this, because if ICC believes the T20 is the future and T20 is the format which they can promote in these smaller and these associate nations, then they have to be given more opportunity to play the bigger teams.
Yeah, and Abhishek, when we are talking about these teams, playing yet another qualifying round to eventually get to the elite sort of phase in this tournament, which is the Super 12 round, we do think of these franchisee leagues sort of building a bridge for these teams to become good because of their players getting more exposure and the gap between the teams decreasing. So I think that can be an alternate route if it isn't just directly ICC going ahead with, say, 16 teams in a T20 World Cup. Maybe the position of these teams changing in a 4-year time can help them think the other way around, because the competition might increase with these players playing in different leagues all around the world.
Yeah, see, what will happen is there are several things I can foresee. One is a tournament. We did away ICC. Well, it was not an ICC tournament, probably the Champions League. They did away with that, but that is going to return. I'm sure about this. One thing that will prevent is the number of overlapping cricketers, but these can be worked around. So that is going to return, because as we can see, T20 cricket at international level is essentially an a format for associate nations.
Yeah.
Big teams, unless it's an ICC tournament, seldom use their first 11. They often rest important players for T20 internationals.
Yes.
So, but associate nations treat the ICC treat T20 international matches way more seriously than the full members.
Yeah.
Because this is all they have essentially.
Yeah.
So the ICC the qualifiers are an excellent tournament, but and at the same time I can see franchise tournament for franchisees coming up.
Yeah.
It was trying. They were trying some at the associate level. Some of the boards have tried to build franchisee leagues. Hong Kong had one. Afghanistan Cricket Board, when it was, I mean, obviously they tried. They had Afghanistan Premier League. I think some of the European teams tried to emulate the Champions League format and try to create some. One team from Ireland, one team from Netherlands, something like that. Yeah, but that idea was good, but because of financial reasons, the league did not. It was not. It was cancelled. Actually, it was called off. But it was a good idea, and at the European level, some of the good T20 leagues are coming up. So European Champions League. So basically, there is a cricketing version of a Champions League coming up in the Europe. I don't know the plan. I heard this about before the pandemic, but because of the pandemic, now the entire process has been delayed. But it will come up in next 2-3 years.
The other place is the USA. So
yes, absolutely,
USA are taking strides into international cricket. USA USA have their own league. We have seen some Indian cricketers go there, Mukherjee, and I think, who was it? Smith Patel. And now Umar Akmal has left for the US.
Yeah.
So they also have Rusty Theron. I think Liam Plunkett's transfer is complete. So USA are building a team of their own. At this point, they are also focused on a league. But maybe not now, but in the future, the USA can be a hub.
They can be.
Yeah.
They can be.
And that will bring a lot more money into the sport. And if USA really start doing well, then probably there will be a financial power to rival BCCI. But that is in the future.
Yeah,
that is in the future. But USA, in the US T20 league, which is coming up in the USA in the format of IPL format, city-based loyalty format.
Pretty well.
Lot of the Indian IPL franchises have already invested heavily on those leagues. They have. And also CPL is another league which has groomed a quite lot of associate players. CPL, you can see a lot of associate players playing over there and doing really well. In fact, this Ali Khan, who played for KK.
Ali Khan, I was really upset. When Ali Khan eventually didn't play, I think he was injured.
Yeah.
We would have seen an American coming to work in India on site. For years, we have been seeing it the other way around.
Something. But that's the thing. The last time we saw Champions League, not just the tournament, the format itself was trying to establish it. It's still a baby, but it has spreaded its wings so much more, and it will be a mouth-watering prospect.
When Champions League stopped, I think it was 2014, 15. I'm not sure about the year. Where T20 cricket was then and where it is now are not the same.
Yeah, even the build-up around the tournament, even the build-up around this particular tournament.
I really hope that they will bring back the Champions League and allow the 100 franchisees to play as well.
Yes.